Hi everyone, my name is Emilio Kenita and welcome back to my channel. I'm making a movie, by the way, for those who don't know, and in the process of me making a movie, I was really confused. I was finding every bit of information everywhere and it wasn't really consolidated on one place in a very systematic way for beginners. That's why I decided to do this. Ideally, when you make a movie, there are three major processes or three major stages: pre-production, production, and post-production. And today we're going to look into pre-production. It's arguably the most important phase of making a movie, and today we're going to discuss it. But before we do that, like, subscribe, ring that notification bell so you don't miss any more videos that I'll be making in the future about this whole journey and this whole process. Let's go. So let's talk about pre-production. What is pre-production? Pre-production ideally is the stage before you start shooting. Every action you take before you start shooting. So this stage is divided into a number of small stages that are important, variably important rather, and they are everywhere. So what are these stages? There's development, scripting or script writing, budgeting, storyboarding, gathering your cast and location scouting. The last of all is your crew and your camera work and everything, and your equipment. Now, what is development? Development ideally is the stage where you sit down, think about the idea you've been thinking that has been floating in your head. You consult some of your friends or some of the people who know are major people in the industry. That's development. In big stories, as you've had, big productions, you see development being a whole piece, needing a whole group of people, because in the development process where you vet ideas, where you're like, okay, is this idea worth going through this process through? Is it worth the time and effort you need and the money you need to tell the story? Because as much as all stories have purpose, not all stories need the visual medium need to be movies. That's why you need to vet ideas. Now, the second step is scripting. Personally, scripting is really deep. Scripting is not easy and it's not hard at the same time. It needs commitment, it needs a lot of things. That's why I'm going to make a different video about scripting and script writing. But scripting is where you fashion your story. You finally put it on paper. You're like, okay, this is the story, this is step A, B, and C. And as I've been talking about it on my TikTok and IG, scripting has so many parts and each part is kind of important. And scripting helps you to able to segment the story, able to pace the story. Scripting helps you in all that. The third part or the third section is budgeting. Budgeting is another whole episode I'll do. Budgeting is basically the bandwidth of what you can do. The money you have determines what you can do. Basic, simple. If you have certain amount of money, there are things you can't do. That's why certain projects need certain investors and everything. Budgeting is really important. The third one, storyboarding. If you have a small budget, storyboarding is really important. You can't push it forward for pre-production. Some people who they are post-production, sorry. Some people who storyboard, they're not so clear. Shoot everything they think about and then push the storyboarding process to post-production. But if you have a small budget, like me, you have to make sure your storyboarding process is the best thing you can. Like, you streamline it, you make it the best. So storyboarding is where you break down your script before you shoot it and think about and visualize how you're going to shoot it. A movie is a visual medium, right? So you have to think how everything will appear on screen. Storyboarding is breaking down your story into screen frames or how you're going to break down your film. So I'm going to talk about it a bit within scripting next in the next video, but storyboarding is important if you have a small budget. Putting more effort into storyboarding with someone with a small budget really helps you because it helps reduce shooting time, reduce cost on location, reduce cost on cast, because cast are paid the longer they are there, you see, or a contract basis. That's I'm going to discuss the legalities of movies later on. Then we're talking about casting and location. Choosing the best people to be vessels of your story is important. The right cast for the right movie is key to a good movie. And also your location. You have to look at different locations or what you really want to tell and where that story belongs visually. Your location matters. The last but not least, ideally, but it varies in my opinion, equipment and crew. For example, I can't afford a number of cameras for me. I'm beginning and we're still drafting the budget with my friends, with my co-producers, and I know I may have to do one camera and one camera crew, one camera person, one videographer, and I'll have to work with that. Simple, right? But now what I do with that crew matters. That's why I said storyboarding for small budget, it's really, really important. So, do you need to put emphasis on equipment and crew? If you have the budget. If you don't have the budget, you have to make work, but now you have to have small but good quality. Like, if you're going to have a good camera, if you're going to have one camera, it has to be a really good camera. You see, such. And within crew, there are places you need to put emphasis, not all of crew. For example, directors. If you don't have a good director and you wrote the story and you produced it, your story may not come out as well. Like, you need someone who can transfer your story from the literal media or literature to the visual medium. So basically, those are the steps for pre-production. I've really hurriedly gone through them because there's not much description needed for some processes, and some need their whole video, so I couldn't do both at the same time. You understand? So I'll be doing 2 extra videos. I'll be doing scripting, I'll be doing budgeting, and also I'll do the legals on how to make sure you follow all the legal processes, how to register, buy rights, all that process, how to register your script, how to copyright it, everything. That will be it. It will be the legality of making a movie, or the legal process. It will be its own video. That was pre-production for you, for beginners. This is basically for beginners. If you're in the industry well, you know what's happening. You know that process well. So that was for beginners. Like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell for more videos. Put in the comments what you think. Any questions you have by the way. If you're a beginner, or if you are thinking about making a movie, put questions in there so that I can have them in my mind as I research and give you questions. Other than that, have a great day, have a great time. Let's meet each other same time, same place next week. Tuonane.